On to the N64 era and beyond. The first N64 Donkey Kong game didn't have Donkey Kong at all, but starred Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong Racing had the privilege of introducing a few new characters to the Rare universe, including Banjo and Conker. The music was created by David Wise and took full advantage of the abilities of the N64 to deliver dynamic music that changed mood based on where you were in the area. The game also uses motifs extensively, as the first theme that you hear, the title theme, is repeated in some way, shape, or form throughout the game. The music in this game is pretty good too, but it's about what you'd expect. Desert level, lava level, snow level, and music to match each. The game doesn't really feel like a Donkey Kong game, which makes sense because it isn't really. It's a kart racing spin-off. The next game is Donkey Kong 64, which was interesting. There's a lot of content in this game, tons of collectibles, some might argue too many, and there's a lot of music to match. But it's a 3D collectathon platformer with quirky dialogue, characters, an overworld, and multiple levels that can be replayed with music that changes based on which area you're in. And the music was done by Grant Kirkhope. Donkey Kong 64 is basically Banjo-Kazooie 1.5. Granted, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but after the huge leap forward of the Donkey Kong Country games, it was a bit of a disappointment. Kirkhope's music is still good as always, but a lot of the music feels like, and probably is, outtakes from Banjo-Kazooie, with the exception of the DK rap, which is interesting. It does feature DK Island Swing as Jungle Japes. After this, Donkey Kong went silent for a few years. Rare was bought by Microsoft, and Donkey Kong became the property solely of Nintendo again, and I guess they didn't really know what to do with it. The next game in the Donkey Kong series was Donkey Konga, a rhythm game in 2003, 2004 in North America and Europe. This game was a bit of a turn for the Donkey Kong games and reflects the rhythm game fad that took the world by storm in the early aughts, or whatever we end up calling the decade from 2000 to 2009. This featured some famous songs like We Will Rock You, Rock Lobster, and All the Small Things. Some children's songs like Yankee Doodle and She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain, Nintendo songs like the Legend of Zelda theme and the DK rap, and lots of random things from Latin, classical, and electronica music. It had a sequel in and outside of Japan that just had more music, and a third entry in Japan only, so it was somewhat of a success. It even had a spin-off in Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, a more traditional action game but controlled using the bongo controller. This game was composed by Mahito Yokota. Similar to many Donkey Kong games, the first level has a rendition of DK Island Swing, and the music in the game is pretty good too, and has a very similar feel to Mario Kart, since most of the levels have a similar driving feel. Very few of the tracks truly feel like Donkey Kong music, however, since most of them would be just as much at home in pretty much any other Japanese game from that era. However, this is one of Yokota's earliest games, and he went on to do some amazing soundtracks, including Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and both Super Mario Galaxy games. Now I'm going to blow through a few of the not especially memorable games. 2005 brought DK King of Swing for the GBA. In this one, you control Donkey Kong by swinging between points using L and R. This features some music that was from the SNES game, such as the world map music. DK Island Swing is Tropical Treetops. This had a sequel for the DS called DK Jungle Climber, which was seen as an improvement on the last one. Donkey Kong Barrel Blast for the Wii came out in 2007. It was originally going to be another bongo-controlled game like Jungle Beat, but was moved to the Wii and the bongo controller was replaced with a Wiimote nunchuck. The game didn't have very good control, and the game was pretty poorly received due to these controls, as well as the dated visuals. As with a lot of these games, the best tracks are the ones that come from the country games, with most others being mediocre. Then there's the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games. This series is a throwback to the original arcade games, and kind of a spiritual successor to Donkey Kong 1994 for the Game Boy. The first game for the Game Boy Advance featured music that's kind of a mixture of Mario and Donkey Kong music, with some jazz pieces with whistles like Mario and percussion from Donkey Kong. I really like the first piece since it's a mixture of the Donkey Kong main theme with Mario's main theme. The sequel, March of the Minis for the DS, features a very jazz-inspired score and takes advantage of the DS's better sound capabilities. Similar to the first, it goes between more jazzy Mario-ish music and more jungly Donkey Kong music. The third and fourth games in this series, Minis March Again and Miniland Mayhem, came out in 2009 and 2010 respectively. However, I couldn't find any good recordings of the music and never played them myself, so I can't really say anything about them. The big one though is Donkey Kong Country Returns in 2010. Retro Studios took over the creation of Donkey Kong games and created a game that would not only be a reboot of the Donkey Kong Country series, but breathe new life into the Donkey Kong games in general. The game is its own game and feels like a new member of the Country series, and surprisingly, given that it's a modern Nintendo game, preserves a lot of the difficulty associated with the SNES games. The music, however, isn't anything especially special. It's really good, don't get me wrong, but it's almost entirely remakes or remixes of the music from the first Donkey Kong Country game. It even sounds like they use the same piano samples as the SNES, bit crushing and all. The music was created mainly by Kenji Yamamoto, who's also well known for the Super Metroid music, so it makes sense then that the original music in this game is more atmospheric than the others, which also fits since David Wise specializes in atmosphere. Overall, the music is good, if a little unoriginal, but the game is built on revitalizing a long-since stagnant franchise, so that's the exact kind of music it needs. This isn't its own game, but I wanted to talk about Donkey Kong's Crash Course on Nintendo Land for the Wii U. The game is pretty fun and visually based strongly on the original Donkey Kong game, but I love the music for it. Why? It's basically a mixture of the music from the Donkey Kong arcade game and the Donkey Kong Country games. It has the original Square Wave line from the first game, a xylophone playing the theme from the Country game, and the whole thing has a conga playing in the background, giving it a jungly feeling. And it's really nice to have relaxing music in one of the most difficult minigames in the collection. So what does the future hold for Donkey Kong? Well, Donkey Kong Country Returns is getting a sequel in Tropical Freeze, and excitingly, David Wise is returning to do the music. So here's hoping for some new content from an amazing composer with some more remixes from the classic games. As long as he preserves the tradition of percussion and atmosphere that made the originals so great, then I know it'll be memorable. Donkey Kong has changed a lot over the years, so it's funny that the two Donkey Kong series that are present today are essentially remixes of the original arcade game and the Country games. But throughout it all, we got some incredible music that has influenced people to see what game music can really be. Not just sounds to ignore in the background, but world-building masterpieces. And one thing I know for sure, the next Donkey Kong game will most certainly feature the DK Island Swing. Thanks for watching, and as always, listen well.